guys, we've gotten to the point of the stream where we're going to stay tuned and be checking out some new Paradox Future and Past forms that are been leaked into the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet videos. So we're going to be doing some reactions to that and seeing what they might look like in theory or what some of the typings might be. But yeah, let's take a look at that right now, guys. Let's go. Let's get in tune with it.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, guys, I want to take a look at what we possibly could be getting ourselves if we get more Paradox Pokemon in the future. Now, what am I talking about? Well, basically, we already have confirmations that we're going to be getting these Pokemon that are paradoxes of sorts, like Pokemon from the future and Pokemon from the past. We already know a bunch of these, or pretty much the list that's going to be
future
in the
and
base
past
game as of right now with the known leaks. But we do also know that there will be definitely more of these in the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The DLC
amazing.
has also pretty much been confirmed. So I thought today we'd take
they're going to be releasing DLCs, downloadable content.
We did a previous video on this, which I would recommend
it's confirmed
to check out
now.
For some more of those. But yeah, let's get into this one right away. Starting things off is this design by Luis Brain. Luis basically put together an idea for what a Neo Sunflora, a futuristic Sunflora could look like, and I personally love this. Basically, it's a solar panel Sunflora, more or less. It's electric grass, which makes sense because it being based on a literal solar panel, it means it will be generating electricity.
We've had a Rotom. Rotom's the only one that's electric grass, right?
This is such a cool concept, and it just perfectly works together. I don't really know what else to say about this one. I just think it's one of the coolest designs. Basically, it's literally taking Sunflora because maybe in the future, there's less likeliness of these Pokemon existing than the same way they used to, and so they have to kind of artificially create them to actually get energy rather than using, like, you know, other industries that might be detrimental to the Earth. So I personally am a big fan of this design. Now, this Proto Porygon design is basically a past version of what Porygon
Proto Porygon!
Like. This was made by Luis Brain.
Normal
again.
rock type.
That's
a
fantastic
dope
concept here, which I'm a big fan of. Now, we've already speculated in the
thing.
past that we could have been seeing, like, possibly an old version, like a Hisuian version of, you know, specifically
Paradox
Porygon.
form.
It was often speculated, will this Pokemon show up? Will it be available? Yes or no? Now, I'm going to be honest, I think this is a really cool idea for what an early version of Porygon could have looked like, and then kind of early version,
good to see you.
Like, you know, basically extinct version of Porygon is what future scientists use to actually
a video about the Paradox Future and Past
forms. I think is a really cool concept.
For the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Big fan of it, and the normal rock typing fits perfectly well, of course, with it being from, like, the Stone Ages, basically fitting well with the rock typing. And next, we have a design by Indigo Region, who put together a
look at
Proto
this crocodile!
Now, you know, just a Proto Crocodile, in my personal opinion, is a cool idea in general. The coolest part about this design is that it literally has an eaten fish in its mouth. Now, what fish that is, I don't know. It could be a basculin or something, I don't know. But nonetheless, the idea of there being a Proto version of it like this, I think is really cool. He does include the typing, which would be water, ground, and it's the ravenous Pokemon. Although Proto Crocodile used to live alongside beaches and rivers and needed light coloration to blend in with the sand and water, they developed black marks around their eyes which reduced glare due to the immense sunlight that their eyes were exposed to. These Pokemon are also known to have
what typing is this one you're going to be, guys?
I guess that's a Relicanth down there, constantly trying to break
I'm assuming
its
Dark
scales.
Steel type.
Now, this next one
It'd be
is
cool if it was
Proto
Dark Steel
Garchomp.
type.
Now, I'm going to be honest. This is one of the few that I think is the most highly
Proto
possible
Garchomp?
one to actually happen. Now, why am I saying this? Well, basically, this design is by Elasteva, and he actually has all three of the different forms. So you got Proto Gibble, Proto Gabite, and Proto Garchomp. And Proto Gibble, as well as the middle stage Gabite, those two, and somewhat the last stage here with Garchomp as well, these are actually based on, in terms of design,
look at that.
Actually based on the original design of Gibble, what it was meant to look like originally, and this is based on its beta design from Pokemon Diamond
this
and
is what
this is literally what it was originally meant to look like. It was supposed to be orange colored, but they eventually ended up changing it. And as I've spoken about in previous videos, and as I will say once again today, it is very common for the Pokemon Company recent times to actually go back and take old designs and repurpose them. Now, what do I mean by this?
Congrats on the rare Pokedaily reward, Pink Jedi.
From Pokemon Sword and Shield. Surfetched was actually a design that they made back in the Gold and Silver era during 1996, 1997, and so on and so forth. And what's interesting about that specifically is the fact that they literally, like, you know, reused that design. They actually came back in recent times and reused it. So the idea of there being a Proto Gible, a Proto Garchomp, and Gabite is highly possible, in my personal humble opinion. I think it's highly possible. I think it's highly likely to happen. Question, though, is, you know, when will we see it? Will we see it at all?
Let's
well,
go,
we don't
Andy.
really know. We're just waiting to see if they end up
Andy,
reusing
you're
this
catching
concept
up on the
and bringing it
Pokedex.
back in one way or shape. Next up, we have my personal favorite Proto design, and that is of Proto Primeape and Proto Mankey. Now, Proto
and Mankey are getting a Proto version.
Designed by Elasteva again, and this time around,
Rock fighting
they are given a more, again, caveman-esque aesthetic. Now, Proto Mankey is just a more orangish version of Mankey with a, like, a kind of a blackish colored bone, you know, in its tail. But that's not all. You have its evolution, Primeape, that literally has that caveman, very, like, I guess even a simple word to put it, very much a kind of caveman mentality, or almost like rabid-looking design, very much out there. It kind of looks a little bit similar to like the savageness that you see in the design of Sada.
It looks like it's picking its nose right there.
Scarlet, right? You actually see that same thing in her design, where she looks a little bit more primal, I think is the right word I'm looking for. Like kind of
good.
Primal,
Invincible, Z-Hunter as well. Welcome to the channel, man.
The same thing you see in this design right here. It's a rock fighting type, but the thing though about this one is we actually do know that there will be a brand new evolution for Primeape. So I wanted to include this one mostly for that reason, because we do know that Primeape is getting a brand new evolution that's going to kind of look like it's got a massive beard on its face, but that is what it is. We're going to have to wait and see how that design turns out. But nonetheless, we do know Primeape is getting some love finally with this brand new Pokemon evolution. It's going to be a brand new Evo, by the way, a cross-gen Evo. So we'll see how it turns out when we get that reveal. The next design is also by Elasteva, and this is of Cleffa and Clefairy with their Neo future forms. Now, these guys
these are future forms.
So he basically describes them.
So some of them you're only going to be able to get in the game in certain games.
Basically, Koraidon's power will unleash the Pokemon's ancient original power, while Miraidon's
so these ones will
Pokemon's
be
power
for what? For Violet?
Now, this is, I think, is a really cool idea, that basically we have this kind of, I guess, if you want to put it in a sense, like futuristic version of Cleffa and Clefairy, like a version that's kind of evolved to be very different. And we also have the Clefable version here as well, that gives them this kind of spacey feeling. Because remember, these are little Pokemon from space. They have been described as so, and we know that they are pretty much, I think, from the moon. So they are very much from space.
Have we ever had a Steel
Psychic
type?
It would be perfect for them to have a futuristic version, you know, a future version of themselves that straight up that emulates that kind of, you know, spaceship design that you can see in Clefable. And if you look at Clefairy, you actually have almost like the rings of like Saturn or something. Kind of
yeah, Metagross. You're right, Ben Edge. I always forget about that one.
Cool idea as well. Overall, I think it's a great design. Next up is the design that I don't think we're going to be seeing anytime soon, but a concept that I think nonetheless is interesting to point out. And we're talking about another design by Elasteva, and this is of Proto Pikachu and Proto Raichu. Now, what am I talking about these guys? Well, Proto Pikachu and Proto Raichu are pretty much based on the idea of there being a Gorochu evolution for these lads. Now, there actually was kind of a weird original version of Cyndaquil that looked more like a fire-type Pikachu, which was kind of a strange thingy-majingy, but it turned out that it was also very similar to the third evolution, or I guess, yeah, at the time, I guess third evolution of Pikachu, which would have been Gorochu, which was a big old, you know,
so Proto Pikachu and Proto Raichu
thing. So what about us possibly
what typing do you think that is?
A Proto Pikachu and Proto Raichu that look like these old versions and also have
electric dragon type, I bet.
What do you guys think about that concept?
It learns dragon coverage, so electric dragon type.
You know,
that's my guess.
I guess just them.
You think it's Fire Dark?
To Gorochu, rather Pikachu would actually have a version of itself that existed in the past, which was a fire type that looked like these two right here. Now, what do you guys think about that? Let me know. Next up, we have one of the best designs made by Elasteva, and that's of Neo Onyx and Neo Steelix. Now, these guys just look so freaking incredible. It's basically like taking these two and just mashing them together with all this high-tech gear. Now, their design pretty much emulates this feeling of like, okay, these are futuristic Pokemon. They've got the plasma rays all around them. They've got like a design
that's what the Neo Onyx looks like on the left, and then Neo Steelix on the right.
These Pokemon will have a harder time existing in their natural, normal
Electric
ways.
Steel
They'll
type.
probably evolve to be different and look different.
Cyber Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Again, given the fact
kind of
that
have that
future,
Cyber Dragon feel, huh?
The world might look different. Everything might be literally out of steel and whatnot, and the world might be very much lacking those natural places, and these Pokemon, you know, may end up looking like this because of that. But personally, this is one of my, you know, just favorite design. And speaking of Surfetched, which we did earlier, what if Surfetched actually got a version which which was a primal version of itself.
It's like a caveman version.
By Mazon Fakemon. Now, Mazon
caveman version of
Proto Surfetch design that literally makes it look like a caveman. Now, of course, it doesn't have to mean that every design is going to look like a caveman.
I don't think I like that either, buddy.
Based on what's been told to us by Red iCUE, that a lot of these designs will look less like cavemen and more like mythological or urban legends, right? So, like, basically myths or legends. Think Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, stuff like that, the Loch Ness Monster, the Mothman, things along those lines. Think of those kind of things when you're thinking about what these things might actually end up looking like. And I'm personally a big fan, though, of a caveman-looking Surfetch. It would just be funny looking at this guy just running around trying to bonk everybody with this, like, big old club. Just think it would be a cool idea. Then we have a design by Nula Draws. Now, Nula made a Neo Octillary. Now, this thing is an electric psychic type, and you can kind of see it in its design, right? It's basically a design where, like, this thing, its brain has gotten bigger, okay? This is not a dumb Pokemon. This is not a goofy Pokemon. Octillary is now a smart boy. It's got a big old brain,
it's one old big smart boy.
Use psychic powers and as well as electrical powers. And I'm a big fan
psychic
of this
and
idea.
electric.
I think
it was just a water typing before, right?
And then there's another design by Nula Draws, and this one I love because it's basically taking Cramorant and making it look like the dodo bird. Now, the dodo, it's a bird that kind of died out a long time ago now. I think actually humans to some extent did kind of hunt him to death, but that's besides the point. These things don't exist anymore. Now imagine if original Cramorants, like the ancestors of Cramorant, were basically these proto-Cramorants that essentially, in simple terms, look like dodo birds, but over time people hunted them to extinction and they didn't exist anymore, and only an offshoot of them
it's interesting to see that Unfounded Theory.
The normal Cramorants we see today.
Instead of just creating new Pokemon, just doing past or future forms of the current Pokemon we already have. I like that idea.
Lantern, and this thingy is
Proto
a dark
Lantern
electric type and looks
dark
just
electric
again, a little bit more
instead of
goofy
water
than
electric.
Lantern. Regular Lantern is kind of a cute little Pokemon. It doesn't look too crazy or anything. It looks actually pretty normal. But this was, again, a more savage, a more primal version of this Pokemon before it became very sophisticated. So, yes, what do you guys think about the design? Let me know in the comment section down below. And ladies and gentlemen,
a lot of the designs I think look pretty dope.
Drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gents.
A lot of them been looking really, really dope, I think. That's cool. So what do you guys think so far? So Paradox is going to be past or future, like, remakes. Some of you are saying it's interesting to see that Game Freak could literally just, like, be doing past or future forms instead of new forms. Maybe, like, cut off the Pokedex below 1,000, you know, and just be remaking past or future forms from now on and in future games to come. I like that. I think it's definitely really interesting. Well, thank you guys for watching that video with me. If any of you guys didn't get to see the beginning of it, I will be uploading this on YouTube later on. Feel free to check that out. Subscribe on YouTube. I will have my socials in chat as well. Feel free to shoot me a subscribe over there and notifications if you'd like. But thanks for watching that with me, everybody. That was new Paradox Future and past forms in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let's go.